delivers. It's not that he was whiffing in earlier rounds, they just weren't coming towards his sight.
Yeah. And
he wasn't being particularly mobile with the op. It's a ridiculously large map. But here you see a bit of what you were talking about earlier, Brent, that form he was demonstrating towards the end of the Pacific playoffs. Get him an op into his hand. And if you challenge him, if you come into him, he's so good at playing around the utility, playing around these angles, around the way that his teammates are going to flood in, using him as a distraction. Now he's going to take it towards mid, so he's found that success.
We were gone for good
on the west side of the map. Now looks,
but at least DRX came back
to see if he can bring the sniper rifle to the middle. I don't think he's really going to get the angles here against the Harbor.
No,
are we able to start
very difficult to get yourself through.
I must wait a moment.
Despite that fact, though, DRX are up in terms of the economy. It's not crew down.
What happened? Why are we not streaming yet? Why are we not live yet?
Drone around the mid round here. Util broken with the cam.
Live, right?
Taken care of.
Nice and bold from Buzz, getting himself back onto these angles. So much better re-clear of mid this round. Look, it's still going to be a split.
Yeah,
Buzz could definitely ruin this.
It's all about whether Buzz can even spot this one out, but again, high tide.
Live, but if
the way across.
Oh my, okay, that is scary. Start pushing back and through. Flashback takes the timing pass, but it's watched for. Traded out and around. Hunter's Fury up through heaven. That's a connection onto the two, but they weren't anticipating that the players would hold their ground. It's down to just heat. Last one left in through A main, but the spike is dropped down. Unobtainable. With only 25 seconds to work with. Basically any sort of win cons.
DRX
contact most of the way, but a discipline of DRX here. He's just watching every approach. Bane catches it. Only 8 seconds left. This is a round win for DRX, just about how they play it. And Heat will look to do any sort of damage, not that it's going to matter too much.
Come back, guys.
At this point, DRX are perfectly happy.
We have to.
Economy is booming. It's flourishing. They're saving for a house, even in this market.
No one's saving for a house in this market.
That's true.
Good luck putting a deposit down with 9K. Crew are going to take a tag timeout here. This map starting to get away from them. I actually like the idea that they came into the round with, but you could argue that Buzz has just won 2 rounds in a row for his team. Despite the fact he didn't really get kills in this round, that updraft to get all of the info that it was an A split allowed and encouraged Foxy9 and Bane to stand their ground there despite the Hunter's Fury. If they didn't realize that that play was happening, they'd probably think that's part of a big A exec. All about the info. And Buzz's confidence ended up paying dividends there.
Yeah.
So there is a reason that DRX have been selecting Abyss, but it's so difficult to know how good teams genuinely are on this map.
It's a wildcard map.
Nobody's here.
It is.
There was
even if you've played a lot of it,
watching.
there just isn't that much data, and the regions haven't played against each other. So even if you're confident on it yourself, it does feel risky for a team like DRX to pick it actively here. And one of the interesting things about the map Veto today is that Crew floated their permaban bind, ended up going all the way to the end. But one of the advantages of floating your permaban is that they got to remove DRX's 2 best maps. So that is the benefit. So you're seeing DRX here playing on some more of the maps that are in like the middle of their pool, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Punished for and Haven, but actually working out quite nicely here on Abyss so far.
It's not like DRX are slouches, I think, on Bind as well. They are a good team on that one, but it is scary when you see a team that normally has their permapan and they floated it all the way towards the end. It basically screams, we've set up a bit of a trap play, or an anti-strat.
Yeah. At the same time, though, DRX are really good there, so very solid team on Bind.
Yeah.
Crew are putting such an emphasis on the middle of the map, trying to get value out of this harbor. DRX, their players are being drawn into this area, but it's not like Crew have been able to exploit that by exploding into sites.
Again, DRX को 100% vote है. Let's see this time poll में कौन जीतता है.
Players to watch it.
Let's see. Up to DRX comeback भी कर रही है after 12.
C9 is alone when he sees this one. Only to one play. It's Kesnet jumping, hopping around.
अच्छा भी खेल रही है
the fact that
DRX.
there was no punish should be a tell in itself. There's that solo player flash peek as well, Kesnet. Might see a bit of an overheat as well. He's still got plenty more util where that comes from. TPing all over the place here, but calling for that pause and a different angle for Buzz, but still the same value. This guy has got that consistency when you put that up into his hands. And considering the dart just to get that info, but He spotted one player before the smoke was up, so he knows that there's at least some presence into this mid angle. Again, they've called for that reinforcement. Buzz, though, smoked off now. In for the wall, he's going to hear his footsteps right past him. Wilted away. And really enough. Disciplines into the way. The crew are playing this one, but potentially able to battle their way through regardless with that brute force. What about the chaos? It's just isolated, picked up by Kesner. TP's back and away again.
Now they have buy
at least. Not expecting it. Flashback. That's nasty.
Come back.
Crew are trying everything they can, working the middle of the map more than most teams would on Abyss, and DRX stands strong. Buzz is AWPing. As soon as they got that into his hands, and as soon as he actually got the read on which areas of the map Crew were going to challenge, it's been a game changer. It has shifted the momentum in this map massively.
अब तो अकेले मार रहा है, and
off on Abyss too. He was just trying to post up on that classic high ground on B. Now he's playing all the way back in heaven, then maneuvering his way over towards mid.
Setting up a decent amount. Crew going for that 1-1-3. This is really risky. But Bane comes out on top anyway. He was in no man's land. And in no position to get a kill either, yet still
what was this?
Comes up with a nasty adjustment.
Too good.
Termi was worried about the firepower diff, but I think with the performances we've seen in these last few rounds from the DRX players, not something to be concerned about. Actually, I think it was more so the flood defending from Crew that Termi wasn't giving enough credit to be honest, in the coach's interview, which we'll see whether that has impact in this game once the sides swap.
Exactly.
But for the moment, not really getting much value out of this. Are they going to try to commit Harbor ult here? It's good against an Opper, but Buzz dodged it last time.
Yeah, drone's going to be used at least to, again, circumvent that position. But Flashback is caught by the knife here. And as well, that golden beam of light up and over. Flashback is forced to make that play, pushing forwards. It's traded. Hunter's Fury needs to try and help them out. Buzz as well, he trying to get back into the action. He's dropped as a result of it. Now, the plant position isn't the best here. Playing to the side of Cliff. Means that Crew do have to commit a lot of bodies to try and hold on to side control. That does leave an opening for DRX. They've saved some util. It's in their back pocket. The dart and a paranoia MTA in the off angle. Needs to be that trade shy. Nice, he joins up, links it all the way through. Bane put it up onto that high ground. Has to know what his last two players are. But now, wrapping around once more. Slowly as you go. But a real difficult round to win. Set up here, Shy taking that first one. Knows a player tucked. Again, the off angle will not save you, but again, time is of the essence, and it's starting to tick away out of the grasp of Bane. Win cons diminishing, and with, yeah, I mean, that's gone with a circle just shrinking. And Shy wins it out regardless of the kill at the end.
Similar game plan from Crew, except less focus towards mid. Pure site exec. Overwhelm behind the reckoning. But this time, the important thing being that Buzz didn't find too much value. He's in a spot where, in theory, he might be able to get 1, 2 playing around that.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
God.
Back to the operator for Buzz.
मेरी लॉबी में मैं मारूं ना ये फ्लूक कहेंगे सब.
This time DRX.
Massive stack.
Yeah, hell of a read. They've got 4 players waiting.
They've been putting the sight. Oh, they're doing the flash and dash play.
Flash and dash play to try and fight for that control early on into the cloudburst, but the dart doesn't reveal too much. And Buzz, yeah, I mean, he handed over towards that weaponry. Players have dropped though. That was Mako committing an ult into spawn at the same time. And he's going to be paying the price for that. So the slow play. I mean, you really have to overextend yourselves as a defender to try and fight over that B main angle.
But दोनों साइफर ट्रिप तो लगानी पड़ती है बैकस्टैप के लिए.
Meaning that DRX was stretched a little bit too thin.
I assume that DRX have chosen this round because they were worried about the null command that MTA's just popped. You don't want to allow Crew to get into position and just exec on you with this ult. So they tried to disrupt the game plan. Fortunately, it doesn't quite work for them. Can they recover here?
Yeah, they're right back into it. Flashback though, backs away, just only with the one kill. He wants to play for his life. He knows it. At least with the teammates who are arriving, but not expecting that Melter's already crept up onto that deeper angle. Shy, finally with the plan, there's no chance in hell MTA is getting a res online, so he's going to be dropped just post-mortem. Bane, high ground angle, reset, at least enough to get the 2. And Flashback dropped down into that 1v2, not enough. Can't overcome it. That discipline, doubling up and contacting together to win that round out 5-4.
क्यों 6 player team? We need one more player.
Good reaction at the end there with the double swing. One wide, one shallow. make it very difficult for DRX to win the round. How did Mako end up dying in spawn? That is such a bizarre one. He's just trying to make use of the distraction as the fast push came out B. Like you said, to Omen ult into spawn. that's an interesting idea. Doesn't quite work. So far, the success from DRX has come from trying to hard anchor sites.
उसको बस पे ऑफ है और भी इनका सक्सेस है. Another big
way forwards. Knife does not get broken, so Buzz wanted away from the angle.
उन्हें पता है ऑफ की साइड वो कमिट नहीं कर रहा है.
And Crew walk away from Buzz.
Yeah.
The player with the op who's been ruining our chances of getting into sights. I think we'll go the other way, actually.
That's a good plan. Avoid the
different angle.
ये मैप बहुत बड़ा है.
Heat looking to maybe invest the drone here to
very easy to
fake as if it could be over towards B. But the team's grouping up on A. Look how weak the A site is right now. Only Mako home.
DRX aware of that though. The drone clears most of the way through B main. 55 seconds onto the mark. Crew cancel. How big the map is. Knife tagging just onto the one.
Only one. And now as the drone comes out from Heat, surely they don't group up A on defense.
It could be false confidence for DRX. They do have the crossfire. Mako, paranoia. They know he's isolated onto that corner, spamming away into the one-way. MTA, he can't respond and he can't back his teammate up. They are trying to fight this one. Pound for pound. Mako, he's just swinging into this one with really barely any util. Left 4 and Buzz happy to oblige and take part into the action and fight. Up through mid as well. Everyone dealt with, everyone accounted for. A flawless round for DRX.
Good read from Mako there.
Game to
New into the IGL role, but reading out that drone coming towards B was a fake, didn't over-rotate, in fact, took the aggressive option himself, made sure that they were playing towards the choke, made sure it was impossible for Crew to get through. Looked like there was potential there for DRX to let this lead slip, but they've recovered. Minimum of 6.5 is so much better than the way that they opened the champs. Of course, huge economy advantage heading into this.
Double smoke है इनके पास, harbor है, fast खेलना
चाहिए. On that back foot, a lot of players tagged, at least the 2 as well. Crew still just trying to brute force their way past this one into the one-way, but rifles in hands, DRX will hold this one. You're not going to be favored there. There's no util to set up DRX into any sort of advantage. Or at least Crew, I should say.
I think that's the spot where Crew should probably be investing smokes. Seems weird to smoke off your own avenue, but just to take a little bit of control. That's a headshot, knocks Bane down weak. Could there still be danger in the 3v5?
Yeah, you don't want to let this one slip, do you? But seems like they're grabbing necessary kills across the map. Not sure how that one came about here. Cove makes it difficult. Flashback's already way ahead of it in a distraction play. Bane capitalizes. This is a much better beginning, as we already mentioned in that prior round for DRX on this map here. It's flawless. They got that momentum back at least as well, and you know, it was feeling rattled from this team. I was wondering if they were going to be able to pick themselves back up with so many players, you know, pushed into new roles themselves, despite the fact that they're veterans.
I guess
like
DRX vote is fine.
New rookie players, despite the fact that they've been playing in front of the home crowd for most of this year regionally. It is a difference maker when they are at the biggest event of the year.
They still have one final test to get over. 7 rounds is good at the half, but Crew are now coming in with that Harbor Silver ult. It's a great combo. It's very effective. Got to imagine they're going to use it here on one of the sites.
Careful.
It's a battle towards this main angle. No one dealt with the dart.
What a play from DRX. That is absolutely lovely. Reminiscent of what teams will sometimes do in that Ascent A main play. DRX have taken all of the sting out of this round. The Reckoning down instantly. The teleport up recon so that you can get kills through your smoke. Yeah, Buzz falls. Crew have been able to find kills like this in the 3v5 spots, but normally the damage has already been done too early.
Yeah, and DRX have been usually tempered enough that when these sides get pressured, especially over towards B,
like, DRX like to play slow.
To be able to get a kill, back away.
DRX will eat you alive.
Never overextending their hands here. Flashbacks gets that acknowledgement. Cage are going to be put back up here. Shock darts removing most of the trips. Knife for a knife, darting through the back as well. Needs to be broken here. Crew starting to walk their way back up, but again, all the noise is being made, and DRX should know this one. Adjustment, Flashback, he was blind as a bat, yet still manages to come up with the one before the trade online. Kesnit It's just an ult to try and pick up the spike. It was out into the middle of nowhere. A tap with 22 seconds left, but you've got to start to commit into this. And again, ice cold by DRX. Happy to slow it down, and now the full commit by Kisnet. Paranoia makes his way across, leaves it just down to the one. Kisnet backs himself away. He's hoping that he'll be able to get that easy fight. Singular in action. Does isolate just the one onto Foxy9, but it's still a 1v2 to overcome. Smoke up into the one way, but one for their own here. Jumping around, a tap, there's the danger zone. Kisnet in potentially a bit of trouble. The dart pushes him back and away in, and up for Bane to just get that half. Sticking and grabs it.
Stick kar diya usne. Stick kar diya.
Too much health for Bane. Kisnet, a valiant effort, but DRX get 8. What a different beginning compared to Haven. I thought there was a chance that DRX capitulated there, but they've done such a good job during that gap between map 1 and map 2 of regaining their mental. What a play here.
What a play as well. This is a much better beginning for this second map here. We're finding out if they can keep that going as well if we end up going to that map number 3.
मेरे को ना तीनों round entry pick दिलाई है. Permission कैसे WatchParty का मिला मुझे बताओ. हमारा गेमिंग बता देंगे, पब्लिकली नहीं बताएंगे, बता देंगे. है अपनी जुगाड़. क्या लगता है कम बैक करेगी KRU? डबल स्मोक कॉम्प है उनका और डिफेंस है. दे कैन कम बैक. Where watching? By YouTube, not YouTube पे ऑफिशियल पेज पर. मायरा दैट्स फाइन. यहाँ पर साथ में देख सकते हैं हम.
We'll be getting back into the second half here shortly. As the teams have their mandatory half time, they can discuss, they can talk about it. But for now, DRX are going to be feeling real good about this. Crew,
very sport.
You know, Mimi kind of mentioned on the desk of their composition. We haven't really talked Crew that much because honestly, the full focus has been on DRX, rightfully so, with how they've been able to
timeout will help them out.
You know, this harder pick, you might start to see a bit more value from it this time around. They were getting brutalized when Crew ended up playing against Leviathan.
So let's see if it defense for maybe it's far better go again.
Himself down mid. I wonder if they're going to be taking a page out of that book.
They can definitely take mid control, but we saw them take mid control on their attack side and it not find very much value. Here on the pistol, Crew have got 4 players stacked on A. They're not going to be able to do any aggressive flash and dash combo stuff. Feels more like a read that DRX would be heading in this direction on the pistol. It leaves B extremely weak. And what we saw from Crew was success with flood retaking. You can't flood defend if you're not close to the site that's being hit. This map is enormous. If DRX went for a B exec right now, Crew would still be migrating.
Yeah.
The great western push.
It is. It's massive. Rotation timings are a big problem for a lot of teams. There's a kill trip. It's laid down even though there's a heaven smoke, but by walking all the way up, DRX able to navigate it easily enough. Going for the plant down. Committed into the boxes. It's very strong into the post plant. You can allow most of DRX now to retreat into the main angle.
Crew are trying to retake here with no flashes.
And they're just trying to make a go of it. They've already made their way in through the side. Watching that one, flashback gets taken care of. In through mids and a peek by Foxy9. It's not set up at all. Buzz trying to at least even out the odds of the fight to be taken. Again, doesn't adjust in time up through that heaven spot. And now Meltzer sticking up the fuse, spamming into the angle, but a Cove defending against most of these bullets. Half is earned. Another smoke. Blooms and blossoms. Kisnet with the kill, and adjustment again. Flick of the wrist, tapping away with the guns, and there has to be reclaiming it. Bane backing up and running into it. Oh my goodness!
Last second. Last millisecond, bhai.
Once more garnered for this DRX team.
Bane, a divine blessing for DRX towards the end. How's he managed to pull that one away? Crew looked like they had that under wraps. they're still trying to play this retake style. I don't think they should have been using as much util early in the round. It would have been nice to see them still have a paranoia or a breach flash.
0.27,
sorry, a KO flash to be able to retake their B. But the way that they just play around each other, it's solid. It took everything from DRX to be able to repel that.
9-4.
4K from Bane. Crew is still putting a really heavy emphasis over towards A. 4 players beginning on that side of the map. Feels like VOD prep to me.
Yeah.
Crew B पे retake का सोच रहा है और A पे हमेशा fight करने का. A retake नहीं कर पाएंगे.
Alternatively, they might be very confident in their B retakes from scrims and less confident on A. But that would be a weird way to play the map.
Bro, watch it here only, or you might find the link in the description.
Towards the backside of A. A Crew have rooted themselves in, at least for this round. It's a gamble stack, of course, and DRX are going to be handed a nice open sight over towards B.
Yeah, it doesn't look like there's going to be any danger here. We're seeing Mako's calling. Be very cautious, though. Doesn't want to run into any of these stacks. Foxy flashes.
The stack is भाई 5 बंदे already यहाँ पर हैं.
Yeah, careful. I don't like this. You normally want to be sending flashback to do that because he's the one with the ghost. You've just You've just prime delivered them a bulldog.
Yes.
Free की bulldog दे दी
and it's not ideal despite that. I mean, DRX,
एक बंदा
they have
भी
an
कम
open
हुआ
sight, still planting for Cliff. I'm going for something potentially a little bit better for it, but
Camera, I must wait a moment.
Crew now grouping up, ready. Try and make a good go of it. The cam was saved just for a rainy day, and that was now. So they get that information that there's 2 players from DRX out through into the back. Got to wait for these smokes now to push up into the position. One flash held.
We'll see if there's any danger
very soon here for Crew.
फिर साथ में लॉन्ग वालों को देखेंगे.
Drone used, time already running short here. That Bulldog finding value. It's up to these side angle players. Mako trying to reposition up and around. And again, Kesnet a tap onto it. No way, you can't let this. You squandered an opportunity. Not again. Kesnet sticking. Half everybody's fallen, but the time is on their side.
0.042 भाई कितना क्लोज जा रहा है. भाई वो बुलडॉग है वो हाँ उसको करना ही माको को I mean फॉक्सी को इतना आगे जाना नहीं चाहिए था.
I don't want to point to the fact that there was a bulldog for the retaking team, but it did find a bit of value there.
Oh yeah, found the opening kill, man.
And again another post plant over towards B that looked very difficult, this time impossible for DRX to hold on to.
Oh boy.
If they're going to be planting safe like this every time, their post plants need to be better. They need to be able to stop Crew from getting back in.
और कुछ कोई util नहीं है like race grenade, molly या killjoy molly something like that. Anything कुछ भी नहीं है उनके पास.
The rifle rounds might be very worrying here.
Oh, Kesnet भड़क गया भाई, Kesnet भड़क गया.
Fight and a challenge. Just trying to get that back up again by MTA, overextending and overcommitting.
वो नियम समझ के भागने की कोशिश कर रहा था.
Like he was the most confident player in the world. There was only 3 there. Could not be more surprised to see extra players. I haven't aced already.
Foxy की भी HP आधी है.
Damaged up, worse for wear, but still surviving. Drone spotting the last 2. See if it bites them, handing over to Guardian. Flashback's already dropped though, so very little chance of this now as well. Foxy9 will be shortly following suit.
Denying another one of the Kesnet aces.
भाई पिछले मैच में भी पिछले राउंड में भी एक एस आने वाला था.
So Rifles finally come on board. Round 16. We're seeing both teams with good economies. I'm concerned if DRX go into another B exec. That is where they're grouping up.
But DRX, KRU comeback करेगा इस sport change करना किसी को. KRU अच्छी टीम है अभी भी कह रहा हूँ.
They've been rough. They haven't even been pressuring the Crew retake.
You should think
they just
with your
give
brain.
them all the space in the world to run back into the site. And then they're like, oh, whoopsie daisy, now we have to stop them from defusing.
And yeah, just looks like a lot of exec util. Everything being combined. Concatenated Shido. Just takes a bullet to the side there. Thought he was safe at least into his cage. And now Crew have much less options in terms of trying to deal with this one. They won't be able to push back the plant. Better plan to go down, and there is a better plan at that. So DRX holding their positions now. The flank from Kesnet will have to find value, and he does have options to at least get past the initial trip. Drone in and through, spotted Buzz out, tagged up, pushing them back and away. They still know two of these players here, but that's being heard by Flashback, and he deals with the flank. Pesky problem with Kesnit, dealt with now. Flash in through the back as well, and bullets to follow through off the back of it. Hunter's Fury forced to be used here, but the knife is going to be cancelling that one out, so no, oh no, just out of range. I stand corrected, and a tap of the spike will force them out wide. MTA now got to do the most with the rifle in his hand. Just not enough to get over that barrier. Still heat, adjustment, snappy, tapping away. Can't quite get it, the easy kill. Time was never on his side.
Tragedy or a comedy, depending on which side of the table you want to sit on there, who you're rooting for, DRX or Crew. This time, though, that different plant position, in my opinion, makes all the difference. And yeah, they still had Hunter's Fury to work with in the post, too. But the fact that you're planting in that better spot, more open, that you can play both sides of the pillar, people on site can play around as well, it's super helpful to have it in that kind of position. Crew are going to take a tactical timeout. They're down 4 rounds. The score 6-10. It's not like they've even really been able to make a recovery in this half. This half, the score is still 2-2. Another rifle round. Another opportunity to knock DRX's economy as well. If Crew can really come out here and get a big result on their defense side, they've got a null command to work with. Maybe that'll make the difference for them on a retake. Then they can start chipping away at this lead. It's certainly not over yet.
Yeah.
But I think this next round effectively decides the map.
Oh yeah, it's very important. You consider DRX full investment in the economy. Losing here, they don't have the loser's bonus earned up at this point because they just won the prior round. So the economy will be knocked. They'll be able to string together those rounds if they win it. Has to be all in from Crew. Now, I'm cheating a little bit. I can see the player positions of Crew in through this timeout. They have stacked most of their team over towards A at this point.
The same thing again.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the problem. The reason I said earlier that it would be a weird way to play the map the whole time, stacking 4A, playing retake B, is because it's just so readable. In the end, DRX, yes, Mako's new to the IGL role. Yes, they have 3 rookies. They're not stupid. They're a really competent team. They're here at Champs. They're going to be able to figure out
और ए पे 3 बंदे ए पे आ ही नहीं रहे बी पे साइफर सोवा अकेले खेल रहे हैं साइफर को ऐसे मार देते हैं देखा
oh my god just dashing into the face
साइफर को ऐसे मार देते हैं लोग खेल ही नहीं कर रहे हैं
going to be backing away. There's only a few positions he can play. Flashback.
Mid is always clear, mid से हमेशा सोवा ये आराम से लर्क करता है
being committed with no command sweeping through, but he's missed the chance to strike from behind.
Patience!
Yeah, it's not being played just in that moment here, but MTA dropped down to his knees. A res possibility for it. DRX did get that plan a little bit prior. As there, tap onto the spike, forcing out most of the util. Kisnit smokes to play with util on top of it. Nades rebounding, echoing pass, flashback, stepping up to the challenge. Right past most of this fight. Meltzer not able to stick this one, sprayed and spammed down onto that angle. Heat trying to get tricky with it again, pushing and forcing the issue, but Buzz, the timing is impeccable. Down reveals Kesnit is alone and not enough to overcome.
गंदा खेल रहे भाई गंदा साइफर को चेंज करो ना एक बार एक ही चीज एकदम प्रेडिक्टेबल कर रहे हैं रैंक में पता है सबको
Crew out of the back of the tactical timeout didn't look like they'd adjusted too much there.
यार वो साइफर को छोड़ दो साइड से हटा दो
they were lucky to get away with it, not get caught by that mid lurk.
ट्रोल करके मार रहे देखो
DRX looking like they're making the adjustments that are doing the job. Wow. Shy adjusted his positioning, but Buzz was on top of his head within the first 10 seconds of the round.
Yeah.
Because
of the knife they've been conditioning with, they've been using it against the box, so Shy hasn't been able to anchor the back of the side position.
We need better. Come on,
Shy should be playing essentially offside at this point.
Yeah, retake maybe up heaven.
B पर फिर वो अकेले खेल रहा है.
In the previous round as well.
दो पे मिड आ गए. वो उनसे नहीं हो रहा यार. B पे साइफर पे.
Over and again. I'm seeing the timer not ticking towards
the
top there.
पिछले मैच में कितना मारा था टॉप फ्रैगर था.
Yeah, and here's because of that.
And here's the tech pause.
इसका कंप्यूटर क्रैश कर गया.
Ah, well, we seem to have identified the problem.
Yes, that's a problem. You do need the game open to play.
Yeah. Some of my ranked teammates haven't figured that out yet.
Guys, moment पे अच्छे चल माहौल बना होता है इनके कंप्यूटर बंद हो जाते हैं.
Got to run through before you jump into ranked.
Keyboard plugged in.
Yes.
Brain working. Mouth working.
Yes,
all important. All important.
All important.
Well, this does give a little bit of time then for Crew to, take themselves out of the game and all ponder. They're not allowed to speak to each other, but all ponder in their own way how they might try to adjust this and get back in. Their buy is rough. They've got 2 Guardians. and they don't really have that same opportunity to break DRX's economy. They can do some real damage to it if they win here, but they have to win here.
Map 3 guys, they're going to map 3. I guess DRX.
Otherwise, it's curtains.
Team, सारे votes
and
DRX
I'm not
to support
convinced the crew have come out with the correct adaptations out of the attack timeouts. I don't think their read on it on their defense side
75% to DRX. कैसे जी सकती है crew यार?
Over time, over the course of the tournament, maybe it'll get there. But right now, it's looking like they're a step behind DRX.
It starts at the basics.
सारा enjoy भी कर रही है DRX पहला map के बाद. They are understanding.
Well, because DRX,
crew बहुत simple खेल रही है
यार. At least the null command is a massive one.
पहले basics पे ही जीत रही थी, अब basics पे ही फंस रही है.
Talk to each other during a tech pause. Not sure if they're even allowed to move.
What, like their physical?
No, not physically. I mean, they can listen. They can maneuver. Well, actually, is that a strat that teams need to employ? Sign language in the future? Communication during tech pause. Am I putting ideas into their heads?
The Atreides battle language.
I am a nightmare for compops. I think I'm an absolute nightmare.
Right. Well, now Riot's going to have to hire somebody who's fluent in sign language to make sure that Kesnit and Heat aren't discussing strategy in the middle of these games. What have you done?
Okay, to me, man. I don't know.
Getting back into it then. This is do or die for crew. This really is the last chance for them to adjust the setups. And they have made a bit of a swap. Shy is now playing off-site towards B. They've got two players there on the B side of the map ready to support. This is finally them threatening mid-control. Something we thought they were going to do. We thought they were going to do tons of this. This is the first round where we've really seen it. Is it too little too late?
Bullets flying past, melts it. It's his teammates trying to make it feel like there is still obviously presence to the top of the site. There's nobody that's lurked up. Trust me, guys, Melz is not pushed up in this spot.
Marega.
Difficult one. Ult committed. That's an interesting one, yeah. I mean, Maka's right through this, and the timing taken right past them here. And this is going to be a squeeze and a pinch into these A anchoring players. MTA dropped straight to the floor here. Hunter's Fury being used to again push them back. Heat will be able to get at least some value from that with Mako falling. Flashback holding off angle. Claims to kill onto Melzer. DRX to kill feed that is filled up with red. At least for now, Kismet traded. And so all the options that at least were present, available, were moved shortly after here for crew. Not able to hold their ground onto that one.
And brutal. I mean, look at the webcam for Heat.
Yeah.
It looks like he's had a tech issue again.
You see the screen
that
here?
Is a
He's
brutal
just chilling.
one. A tilter too,
game crash
because damage already done in the round. Listen, I don't work for Compops, but the rules, as I understand them, are that you're not going to replay a round like this.
Not if there's been damage done.
He was also in a 1v3, so from our outside perspective, very unlikely for that to be a winning scenario for him. It looked like DRX were massively in control of the round. But as a player in that spot, you're feeling like your agency has been taken away. That's the kind of stuff that puts you on tilt. After you won 13-2 on the previous map. I feel like I'm talking about the mentality of both of these teams a lot, but you heard it from the desk too. This crew squad, they live and die by their emotions.
They do.
They are such an emotion-driven, fierce, red-hot team when things are working. And then stewing on themselves, getting a little frustrated when things are not working. And there's nothing more frustrating for a player than a situation like this. And they're also, economy's boomed. They're down 6 rounds. DRX are winning this map.
Yeah, it's 12-6. They are winning this map. You can say with most confidence. Doesn't matter how wrong I've been so far in this tournament.
For the technical timeout, they cannot chat usually.
Yeah, they should.
They cannot discuss the planning. They're not getting any extra time.
You're thinking ahead.
So they have to stay shut and silent and keyboard mouse to do.
Kind of stuff
they cannot change their pose. They directly pause पे they cannot set up.
Cruise permaban.
So ऐसा नहीं कर सकते कि एक cypher का एक trap A पर एक B पर and you have because you have the time.
Prepared, but what?
नहीं,
how good it is?
कर रहा है tap, but usually you cannot touch your mouse and all.
Historically, have not actually been able to translate success on bind into international success on bind.
Yeah.
So that's another thing to keep in the back of your mind too. Has looked good in Pacific, but is it good enough to be able to get wins here in Champions?
कर लेते हैं. Gossips नहीं करेंगे time pass कैसे होगा?
So I'm just thinking ahead about it. I mean, from the prep that I've done, at least of watching DRX on bind, I'm assured and shy of the mark, at least in some of the matchups. You know, when they're going up against Gen G, who a lot of people pen as the favourites of the event, right? So it's Gen G.
Gen G are ridiculous.
Yeah, take it with a grain of salt. But they've had, you know, close losses in that regard. And it's a very fleshed out map for them as well. So yeah, I'm looking at crew and I'm wondering what exactly could they possibly have been cooking up.
You can see just in the body language here from crew that it's
tapped out a little bit.
A little
resigned,
frustrated.
When your match goes like this,
They'll give it their all, I'm sure, in these last few rounds, however many end up being
game
played.
in middle of match, so already you are not fragging.
Now, if DRX really wanted to boom them, they'd queue up a time.
हमारा computer बंद होता है गुस्सा नहीं आता है, तोड़ देते हैं.
If we're really getting into like the mental warfare, thinking about sign language advantage during tech pauses, I'm trying to, evolve the coaching game here. But if I got a timeout called after all of this and I was Heat, I would lose it.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, is Termi that cruel?
If we see it, DRX are winning this event.
I mean, Termi has been known to not call tack timeouts sometimes when his team are down.
That's true.
If he ended up sending one here.
Listen, he's got rid of the suit. He's turned a new leaf. He has relaxed. He's stopped benching Foxy9. Yes, he's given him a chance to play.
Yeah.
Which is a point that we haven't really spoken about too much, mainly because Foxy9 has been on this map, he's been supplementing, he's been helping out, he's been there, he's been present.
Yeah,
prior map he wasn't.
Hasn't taken over the game. But
exactly.
The last time that Foxy9 played an international, he's not a brand new rookie to these global events. Foxy9 was at Tokyo. But I would forgive you for not remembering, because he only played 2 matches. He went 1-1 and then he got benched. And that was kind of a theme, a running theme of last year's DRX. As they kept subbing people out and rotating the roster. A lot of questions about DRX, but they ended up settling onto this squad with a lot of rookie talent that they believe in. And their development and their scouting has been good. I think
VALORANT in their tournament will land
towards the bottom of the list of good, brand new, great players that they've integrated into their team. But if you think back, Mako was a duelist main that they integrated into the Smokes role and brought up. So they do have a fantastic history of being able to concoct talent and build for the future.
Yeah, they really do. And a lot have been asked, I think, at the veteran presence and talent on DRX. Buzz as an individual who I was highlighting. Now, I'm going to steal an asset from the desk, which I'm sure they've called in and prepped, which is the Buzz op highlights, because this guy has been taken over when he had that weapon in his hands, at least in the defensive half. And for me, I'm not gonna lie, I was a little bit upset watching map 1 because the guy he didn't have it. He was kind of getting different in that regard by Kisney, but this time showing up back into that stage 2 playoff form.
Yeah, and putting on some real excellent performances back here. Dancing around, dodging a lot of utility, and stinging like a bee when it comes down to it.
Exactly, but if Buzz is putting up numbers like this as well, it helps the whole team, because you got to think with the amount of just turbulence that his team has had throughout this year. Hello. Wasn't expecting that, but that's okay. It's okay. Always ready for it. But yeah, with the amount of turbulence that this team has had over the course of the year, it's up to the veterans to pick up the pieces sometimes when morale gets slow, when things aren't together.
It's interesting you say that, because DRX internally have talked quite a lot about people like Bane being uplifting for the team and being that breath of fresh air that they needed to be able to turn the ship around and focus on a new identity and bring that positive energy. It would be, I'd love to be a fly on the wall and a fly that spoke Korean on the wall. In the back end between map 1 and map 2, because who is it that's helping DRX maintain their mental with all of these players that have had some experience regionally, but when you look at Flashback and Veto, to be honest, Foxy9, not as much experience.
Yeah.
We're back.
I want to see
we're back, and at this point staring down the inevitable, which is DRX most likely walking away with this map. They are grouped up, they are ready to go, raring to go.
I know there are carry supporters.
There are slow wait, 13 if the knife gets used, but the timing of it is awkward, so it is going to catch most of them here, pushing them back and away. And they want nothing to do with A now, not that they showed at least presence towards that area of the map. Maybe that was always part of the game plan.
Shy is pushing up. So this is the first time we've seen Shy go aggressive on defense over here.
Yeah, might be able to at least get a kill. There's a fight about to be taken while mid is being pushed.
Flashback's going to miss that.
Yeah. Backing around. It's a real awkward one. Jump spots about. There it is. Flashback strikes, and with Shy down, so goes the setup over towards B. So no command not even necessary, and he's really just done enough. It's two removed. Heat.
Flashback.
He was running his wee little legs there as fast as humanly possible, but at this point, weakening out the defenders. Player spotted out over towards the A side. There is time still available, and with all the space gained and pushed up. Flashback even with that third. He's cracked open a side and essentially won them the map with that.
चलो भाई ये तो खत्म हो गया मैप 3 गाइस
मैप 3
प्रेडिक्शन करो मैप 3 की क्या लगता है कौन जीतेगा 1-1 थर्ड मैप winner takes all
the dagger into the heart. Yeah, Kesnet and MTA looking to pick up the pieces, and it's a 4K possibly on for the ace here as well.
Yes, come on.
Can MTA shut it down, or are DRX going to be thrown into bind?
MTA survives, flashbacks on 5L, running his way around. No ace today. But it is inevitable. MTA just making us all wait for a little bit. He's going to give it a good go, but already, look at the angles to account for here. I mean, Buzz has already just taken up this position into Spawn Bladestorm right behind him. Let's knives out. He's behind him. He's toying with him. He's walking up right behind him. Oh, no, no. It's like a horror movie! The 13-6 for the finish. Map 3 bind, ready and waiting.
Going to map 3.
And if there was ever a final kill in a map that showed you a team has recovered from being battered in map 1, reset their mental and are feeling perfectly confident, literally toying with the final player.
Yeah, this is it. I mean, DRX have definitely pulled themselves back up. The momentum now firmly behind them. The morale turned around. We're going to be sending it to a break on the other side the rest of the series.
Guys, aate hain 1 minute mein. You watch it here. 1 minute mein.
Welcome back, everyone, to DRX Forces at map 3, and we got ourselves a game, and Tom is gloating with, you know, okay, we get it.
Do we have the clip of GB celebrating off the last map?
I don't remember that.
What was it that you were like,
honestly, that really doesn't sound like anything I would ever do.
It sounds like something you would say. I also remember you saying something like, oh, it's going to be a quick day.
No, I don't think I would ever say, I don't think I'd ever jinx us.
And then when it's map 3, and it's tech pause.
Hey, it's still 6:30, okay? So we're only an hour and a half into this thing, all right? Because map 1 was like 35 minutes long.
I'm just saying, DRX fans, he's your hero.
Yeah, I guess so, but hey, you know who's actually the bigger hero in that one? The young players who stepped up big time for DRX. You got Fox 9 Flashback, who popped off. Flashback especially was so instrumental in this one. The lurks he was getting, the way that he was really getting those first bloods, not really allowing Shy any opportunities to be able to lurk himself. And we got to say, Flashback was impressive.
Yeah, it was actually one of the best performances I've seen from him. A youngster on the stage, you're always going to question pressure.
Yeah.
We spoke about it after that first map, like, were they going to crumble? Were these youngsters not going to be up to the standard?
That's ridiculous.
It was kind of good.
Yeah, those numbers are pretty high, I would say. An excellent game from Flashback and from DRX as a whole. I think that, I mean, the casters were talking about it. They had some really good ideas on their defense, the way that they were building around Buzz's operator. I think they gave him a lot of opportunities to A, have individual impact, and B, the way they were calling their macro around them was really good. Setting them up on these early lines with the heavy side early, sometimes even showing that with utility, and then stacking the other side, showing a lot of variety in that. I thought it was really good from it, from DRX and from Mako as their IGL, especially there.
Yeah, but then on the opposite side for Crew, they went with a different composition. Leviathan had rolled the composition before, no duelists in this comp as well, so you're thinking, okay, this could be an opportunity here. Maybe they've learned a little bit from what Leviathan did with that composition, but instead, I think this is the case of like, hey, it's a good idea, it's a good comp, but they didn't quite feel comfortable with it.
The thing is, I think, wasn't it, the difference with the Lev one is they do have a duelist.
Yes.
Other than
That's
that,
true. Yeah,
it has
sorry,
similarities. So
yeah.
it's that Omen coming in. I actually don't think that, like, Kesnet will always play well on his agent. It's whether the team works well with him on that agent.
Sure.
I think that was the problem. Like, he was setting up paranoias. It's like, if that guy is at the back using util, that means he's not at the front popping heads.
Exactly.
And to me, a lot of the issues were a little bit more like macro. I think that they index really heavy on their defensive side into playing set retakes with the Harbor.
Yeah.
They had a lot of ideas around using the Cove to get out of choke points or put that down on the spike. Very similar to how teams used to play Pearl in the Harbor Viper meta, right? You're putting up the wall, everyone's fighting forward, one player's sticking on the spike. I think fundamentally that's a okay game plan. I just think it's really hard to deal with the post plants on this map, frankly. The spam game that we saw consistently every round from DRX and from the other teams that have played this map as well, I think it's just too strong. I think that maybe
you need
indexing...
a Sage wall.
I don't know about that. Sage is good on this map, but I don't know if she's the play in pro.
Well, let's go ahead and look forward, though, to map 3 because we're going over to Bind. And, you know, this has been a solid one for DRX. So if you are a DRX fan, you're feeling pretty good about the team going into this one. But I do want to see what we talked about before about Kesnet being on the Omen, being behind everyone, not being in front of the pack.
Sure.
This time around, Kesnet's going to be in front of the pack this time
But
around.
we don't even know what they're going to play. This is Crew's ban.
But I mean, realistically,
played it for a whole year,
realistically, like, do you really think Kesnet's not going to play duelist on Bind?
He's going to play Raze.
Yeah, he's going to play Raze. So you're going to have him be that tip of the spear for the lineup, which is what found them that success in map 1. So if they can lean on that again here, they could very well walk away with a dub. That being said, though, I think DRX are feeling a little bit more confident, and if these young guns at a global event start to step up the way they did in map 2, it's going to be quite problematic for the lineup squad to figure out.
They've got more data than they could ever need. The last time they was played by DRX, they lost 18-16 on this map. So you can basically have watched every single round a million times just in that matchup, and you'll have everything to try and break down what your opponents are doing. Maybe you can try and throw a spanner in the works here and there.
But that was against Gen.G, who I think is presently the best team in the world, I think in most people's opinions, after their early performances here and winning the last global event. They play the 100 Thieves comp with the Fade and the Gecko, and I think they play it really well. Their defensive protocols looked on point. I think the coordination between the initiators was really nice on the timings they were using to pull out those util combos, and well, it's not as much opping as we saw on Abyss. Buzz is still going to be a menace on the defensive side in this comp when he's playing the Raze.
Yeah, we're gonna have to look out for that for sure, because if Buzz gets firing again here, how does Crew try to shut that down when he's already feeling comfortable like that? It's gonna be real difficult.
We got a little spoiler there at the Agent Select, but it looks like Crew is also playing the Mirror here with that same 100 Thieves comp with the Gecko and the Fade. I think it's the best comp on this map right now, and Crew have played, or at least watched, other teams in Americas play this a lot, and I imagine scrimmed against it as well.
The only thing is, I feel like if you're going to come in as the team who's never played a map, I feel like you need to go a little bit bold, because if you come in, you haven't had the reps online, you haven't had the reps in the server, it's only been in the practice, which sure, you're going to learn a lot from. I still think it's a little bit of a worrying sign to go in against a team who've already had plenty of reps on this comp and then try and beat them on it.
I disagree. I think this is just a good comp to play. I don't think you need to overcomplicate it. You have a lot of odds you can watch of how to implement this one, and I think that Crew have played similar ideas before with the Gecko combo comps. I'm not worried about the comp, I'm worried about the team and how they can bounce back into this third map.
That's right. Well, here we go, folks. Map 3. Which squad is going to be starting champs with a big dub? Let's send it back over to your casters. You got Brendan Sideshow yet again for the call.
Right.
Bind is going to be an interesting one because of all the setup that the desk has been talking about. You know, it's been Cruz, Permaban, and for DRX, they are a good team on this map. Their setups are well thought out, especially on the defensive side. And already, I'm getting an early glimpse in terms of how they want to play this one. It looks different again. Normally, they're playing double initiators over towards B, trying to crunch areas. This looks like a fight towards short A.
Well, it actually might end up being a crunch just through the other teleporter.
Yeah.
If we see Shy take a little bit of space and have that Viper contact battle.
Here's all the noise, including the Stimmy. Doesn't choose to use the C's nice and early here. It's a big tool to try and delay this one as well. He actually gets it a little bit too early, but there are, crunch online now. Triggering that play, it's into the corner, and Shy isolated, pushed back. TPs on TPs. Crew will not do it. The Molly is preemptive, drops him down, including the smoke in their face. Mako has locked them well out of that site.
Perfect play so far from DRX. But now, as Crew reset,
running around the world.
They're not going to know exactly where people like Flashback are. And they're not going to know that it's a 4-player stack, but Crew are much more grouped up.
Walking around here, just onto the corner, expecting that re-clear, but crouched up, the bullet's just not quite landing. Only the one for Flashback. Melzer, nice and pretty, still with that shower's control. Plus, level of awareness there for him.
And this is good. This is a nice read here from Melzer. When Flashback dies, you're expecting Crew to accelerate into B. That's where the defenders go.
Plus seeing signs of life down through short. Foxy9 over the top there with the Dizzy as well. Forces Melzer out into that fight, crouched up. Heat, he removes Buzz. No longer a problem into this round, but a spike has also been dropped down. Tap from Heat, seeing if there's that second wave of things. Again, out wide and open. Not enough of the movement, and time now is thoroughly against him. MTA, a lot to do in this spot. Forced to at least get the kills or stick, but it's an impossibility. DRX have played that one to perfection, despite the mid-round adjustments of Crew being on point.
Deadlock और Cypher साथ में खेल रहे थे, वो मुझे थोड़ा weird लगा.
A great round from DRX.
Defensive combo हो गया वो.
Perhaps a hint of things to come, with one of these teams being much more comfortable on bind than the other. The crunch through, and Shy not recognizing that potential of the threat.
मेरी team खाली Deadlock नहीं खेल रही.
It's a difficult read to go for, because they had no info towards short. But he got sandwiched. Absolutely flattened.
There's some emotion. Okay. It sets up the economy nicely for DRX.
Same चीज कर रहे हैं, but बिल्कुल slow.
The players out towards B long here. Crew are grouped up, or 4 of them. Orb in the face though makes it nice and difficult. Nice from the perspective of DRX, not willing to give them too much ground.
Just trying to piece off the map, portion by portion, see if they can build up to large ultimates. Normally you're going to see the attacking team want to build up their Thrash first. It's the one that tends to come online.
Take a little bit of a TP here, straight into the open arms of Bane. That is a lovely adjustment. A lot to overcome there. Even if they are eco kills.
I might let him catch up to Heat's ultimate.
Yeah, shows that he's on point with it. Large part of this composition the Crew are running, it relies on the ultimates to try and generate fast execs that can't really be stopped by anchoring players.
They don't really have one. They're going to be heading into round 3. Heat's the closest. And that Nightfall, I don't think it's on its own good enough to really be a massive execute tool. You get a lot of room over towards B if you take Long and Hookah. But Heat is still 3 away from that, so, you know, we're not really going to see it online for a little while. DRX with an opportunity to convert on a bonus round. Flashback takes up position in Hookah with a judge. That's brutal to get through. At any time on bind, in any part of this map's history, that is brutal to get through.
It's good. Even on a full bite. Horn out through the smoke, Bane. It's broken, so there's some acknowledgement for him.
And that sends Buzz, he was playing a float position in spawn, and it sends him more towards the A site.
Flashback would love any of these Crew players just to walk straight into him, but nobody's budging right now. Crew making sure that they try and play that slow siege. That's a walk up, and I think just a pre-fire into the corner as the orb was coming up, but hard to tell. Shido,
they may have got the timing wrong.
It's a massive kill.
Okay, bonus round hai
As you said, Flashback has his orb over there, but Foxy9 looked like he was caught out in the open. Have to see that one.
Wait kar raha hai bhai. Sare wait kar rahe hain.
With a huge amount of patience, knows there's a serious chance that there's a shotgun on the other side of this.
You have to expect it.
But also at some point, you're probably going to want to go in there, and you're not going to have initiator utility.
Try and use the nade to rebound, but depends how deep he'll bank it. Flashback could still be alive.
And you don't know which side he's on.
Exactly. So it's a lot to clear here. Buzz sees a lot of them. Signals now for the wall to go straight back up, and so does the Dizzy. It actually does connect into the tube. Is that crew going to be sending it forwards? The go button is hit ever so slightly here. There's a lot of util being used. Again, it's disjointed, but that's partly because you see the molly's already been placed down as well. So crew being stunned with only 15 seconds left, and this is more time for DRX. They've got players into the spot and a position, and Keza just goes for the widest space in the world to clear it. Doesn't work out. Still alive onto the corners. Molly at their feet. They can't step over it. They can't get access to it. Jumping around, making a mockery of the round. DRX are converting this bonus.
1v1.
From what we've seen on Bind so far, and from what we saw in Abyss, it's like a totally different team for crew. They haven't even been pushing DRX that much.
Yeah.
You know, rounds like that, they fall apart so easily. Kesnit just walks into a judge, and the others are stopped by small pieces of defensive utility. Nothing earth-shattering that DRX are doing. A jump spot, a nade, smokes down, and then crew are forced to push through the smokes without their entry player, and it all falls apart.
I think there's pieces of the puzzle that are missing here for crew.
I agree.
If you're playing the attack side, you have to pull out the molly, snake bite, mosh pit, whatever it might be, but any sort of that stalled util in every capacity as well, because it's going to deny the plant, it's going to deny you even being able to go into these execs, and you're going to be tested in that space. We've been talking a lot about kind of mentality with these teams, especially because DRX got slapped around, dismissed on map 1. It immediately was answered back on Abyss with a rather tilting tech pause for crew. And right now it seems like DRX haven't slowed down from that map 2 here. This is a very committed off angle. Kesnit is quick to respond there, and he's good with the movement on top of it still. With Shy dropped, they're getting themselves into the site. So Nightfall scatters his way across. Does connect onto a multitude of targets, but Bane is not to be pushed back and away here. Tries to at least offset his movement enough to survive, but he's going to be dropped in the process. Now through onto the side, MTA planting. Moshpit and Snakebite rebounding, but it's a little bit too late there. Just missing the mark, so still getting into that plant. He's for the post of it. Crew. Rivers in the hands. Mel's is spotted out, and spam through the box will do the job. Methodical here by DRX. Take their time with most of this here. MTA only with the Sheriff to work with. He would have to hit a miracle shot, including the Sheriff in the hands of MTA, but it's just not happening. Peeking around. The wingman taps that first point of the fuse. They know exactly where Heat is. He's going to be not long for this world. And the fuse is completed. Slightest amounts of danger there in the round, but still DRX looking like they're more than comfortable to navigate it.
You're right that there was some danger, but it also took them the Nightfall, which was the first ult that they got up to. And MTA had 3 opportunities to try to get a kill with the Sheriff. Couldn't get any. And that would have brought it into a 2v2, and then we're really talking about danger.
Push the votes.
This is, I mean, a timeout round 5.
Yeah. Normally this is a sign of a disaster. Something either within the comms, something that they want to address very early on about the macro, because you don't actually have that much data. You've played a pistol, you've played anti-bonus that you lost.
Defensive comp.
You know, apart from that, it's been ecos. Yeah. So in theory, you shouldn't even have too much to discuss. But this next round coming up, they do have rifles on board for both teams, and they
still early days in map 3, but for now, in terms of what we're seeing, rather dejected crew, they're going to have to turn it around if they want to see if they can dispel that narrative. Deep orb is used here by crew. Shy zone. Feels like they could be walking all the way up here past that orb.
Trying to control the B orb as well and make sure that that's not something that a player like Kesnit could take away and get his showstopper online. You see that DRX are trying to control both of the alt orbs. Stop crew from getting those active.
Orb's going to have to be dropped as well. Crew looking like they want to try and lurk potentially up through A short. Got to save some fuel in the tank for that one, for the wall to be up and abound. And this is a classic from crew. They love to contact into these plays, but again, might be to their own demise.
Buzz is getting called back to the A site. He's the player with a showstopper and nade and blast packs. It should be very difficult to get plant down, even if crew exec short.
Wall up. We're waiting for that timing. Now the util is going to be following up past it. Up and over. Doesn't clear out Maka though. There's nothing for a showstopper in the hands. It's returned there and a swing off from the side. Bane still alive and kicking, but will fall in the end. That's Heat to drop him. Shower's control is going to be given up and lost. A flank timing here by Flashback. Out and around. and a full avoidance of lamps. Crew wanted nothing to do with it, so they didn't give up their lives to the judge here. A lot is going to be resting on the shoulders. We're watching right now, but slipping past. Here's the footsteps. Running around, gotta wait for this wall to drop as well. He's going to be given the easy kill. Yes, he is. And DRX, they make sure to swarm. It's disciplines and an ult in the back pocket of Foxy9 will basically seal it up. Checkmate at that point.
DRX with another very nice defense round over towards A. And that's after Crew got about the best case scenario against Buzz's Showstopper. If you go 1-for-1 in that spot, the wingman still plants. That's about as good as you're going to get when the Raze on defense has that ult.
Guys, DRX.
But it's the post-plant situation that's just brutal for them. Didn't quite get the read on Flashback coming through market, and Foxy9 also winning that crucial battle from Cubby. If you just look at the duels and who's winning them, and the pace of the game, the pace has slowed down, and DRX have started winning a lot more of the rifle fights.
Just how much DRX are controlling the tempo. They're not getting sucked into these fights. Map 1 was them honestly losing their cool. They looked frantic.
Yeah.
I think they were getting sucked in constantly to try and take duels. DRX really going to be tested, I think, in this instance. This is a lot of players up into their face, but again, to judge and hearing it, nobody wants to step past it. Mako spam down heat. He has answered back finally. Onto the board there with those 2 kills. A peek from Kesnet, lucky to be alive.
They still haven't used Thrash or Showstopper. Here comes the Thrash.
Now going to be used to not even take much space, just in case it peaks most of it, but they already had control of lamps. Pick it back up, another go of things, Shy. Still sitting. Tucked himself away into showers, one of the best chances they've had in a long time. Wait a second, util is used, combined attempt. Kesnet Showstopper has to use, at least to offset that one Bane. He's sticking it, and it's not spammable for Shy into the spot. Off onto the angle again, he knows that there's a chance, and it's 1 out. Shy finally puts one on the board of a Red Bull clutch.
He was good with them on Haven. He won 2 incredibly important clutches for his team. And now he's put the first round on the board on Blind. The fact it ever got to a clutch situation, though, I think is a bit worrying. I really like the util dump, though, that DRX had over towards lamps.
Yeah, they had a good way to clear lamps there.
Lovely clear in that spot. But for Crew to be sat in a post plant, everybody in a nice position, and still have to use Thrash and Showstopper, and it comes down to a 1v2, squeaky bum time.
Yeah, it doesn't bode well. Probably getting that connection as well, just from the trail, the haunt up and over. That was used a little bit earlier.
Yeah, the haunt over the top there's a nice one. It's one that DRX uses as well. Often can set somebody up to take B-long control, but DRX are trying to lock that spot down.
Yeah. They have a lot of control over the map right now as well. Doubled up onto B-long and up in the hands of Buzz so he can watch this shower's position and angle.
Info की कमी है ना, ना सोवा है. Fared थोड़ी ही info दे पा रहा है. Secondary info है नहीं, Cypher है नहीं.
और called from Melza. He has orbital strike for post plant. If they can just get this plant down, again, they should be in a nice spot. Oh,
util here might even be choosing to use this one. No, cancels the call here. It's a Nightfall now that's going to be used by DRX. This is a respawn that catches on to absolutely everybody. And all sound cues are deafened. Crew are working partially in the dark. The tap, MTA is looking for that response out. Orbital strike is used, but into the wrong spot. There's absolutely nobody waiting there. Dizzy around and about. It's Crew trying to fight tooth and nail over the spot into lamps, but they still don't have this plant down. There's 22 seconds left. Time escaping them. The hourglass running dry. MTA fully committing and tapping onto, finally committing into the spike, and there is that reinforcement. Side by side, Kesnet joining into the fight. Down any sort of position that DRX hunting, trying to take it. They do have that showers control still.
Snakebite to clear lamps.
It's going to be the important elements here. Buzz has already picked up one, but it's already equalized. Nade into the hands, Kesnet. Util out and away. Movement by Bane, almost enough to isolate still. Players are dropping Crew. Another chance, and it's grasped firmly here to put that second on the board.
More solid in the post plant there, Crew. After a very bizarre ultimate from Melza, it must be said. But Crew, with that patience, lamps control, then tried to fight a bit towards backside. Never really getting lost in these situations.
They're अपने smoke पे अपनी need पे weak कर रहा है.
Even in slower paced scenarios.
We'll say Bane made a good go of it. Did a lot of damage to the short player. Kesnet in the pocket.
Yeah, I still feel like DRX are attempting these fairly nicely. Maybe the operator's not the play though. If crew are putting a heavy emphasis on walking down behind the Viper wall and then just execing short, your op is not going to be able to find too much value. We've seen this before when we were watching the Americas teams, and Aspas was struggling with it.
Yeah,
I think your op player can be excellent and be finding a lot of value, but at the end of the day, it isn't the right pick.
Yeah, it's a trap to fall into. A bind at the end of the day, you look at the map, anybody can do it. Listen, you can pull it up on Google.
I can look at the map.
You can look at it, we have access to it, but there's 4 avenues. It's not like traditional maps where you have these long sightlines where you can post up an opper, they get constant information, they know exactly where the team's going to be. Binds, you can hide that intent quite well, and not just that, you can put up smokes into the face so that you can really mitigate an opper's value. And if you're trying to play post-plant denial as well, a rifle is going to help you do that. If you're looking down showers control, an op isn't.
Yeah.
I
agree with those points. I think that something that DRX should be trying to play around. Marco's going to pick up a judge too, and we've seen that can already find some value.
And they might be talking about what we were just discussing in that timeout because they had the money to buy an op.
DRX 80% भी बाहर नहीं कर रही है. Come on, guys.
Pit down towards short, Heat with the ult to try to clear it, if they wanted to. Instead, crew taking a lot of showers control. They might even try to backwards nightfall here. Set up that trail and have
77 हो गए DRX 78
clear flashback from short.
76
There goes Buzz early on.
That's a beautiful shot.
I am impressed.
I think you can still commit A here. Flashback is now under so much pressure.
Yeah, he's worried about players potentially lurking up right behind him.
A fade ult into the pit from showers would go crazy.
Foxy9.
What have they got to do with it?
Yeah. Yeah, not too much.
They didn't make champs.
A ही commit करने वाले हैं Nightfall.
And a Nightfall going to be committing this one over towards the back of the side. Nade as well. So damn low, just about. Wiggles himself around to the corner, but that's both Snakebite and Moshpit that's expended. 44 seconds of crew in danger of running out of time here.
भाई वो लोग commit नहीं करा उन्होंने.
Already with a sound just got away as well. They are making their way through. That is rapid. Kesnet, he is leading the charge for his team. Flashback worried as well, still trying to maintain control and his composure towards A short, buying DRX a bit of a wink on as well, but a plant is down. Starting to tick away. Kesnet also with that showstopper.
Nobody can really wrap through. Oh, I was going to say no one can wrap through short, but now Flashback hit down. These players can try.
They're trying to bait them in here. Flashback only for the one still alive though.
The defuse!
No way, Bane! He sticks it! Where's the protocols in place, man?
Those don't fake.
I've got to assume they thought Kesnet's showstopper was going to deal with it. Kesnet somehow thread the needle with his raise ult to miss the defuse and, I think, miss the player that was pushing him. And just somehow landed it in the middle.
Yeah.
The splash damage didn't catch.
A lot of unknowns there.
Look at that.
भाई उसको damage भी नहीं पड़ा.
Just misses. But I think he was distracted because of that push from Mako. So he's like kind of putting it between the two of them. They still had Melz's molly to work with. Like, there were so many more layers there. They just thought the raise ult had done the job. Uh-oh.
It was obvious, yeah.
Disaster time for crew. Squandering those rounds, it should have been easy. Oh, it already plays up in front of him. The contact play again works out for crew. Kesnet not pushed back in a way here. Dizzy over the top. Inside the smoke though. Buzz, he's hiding. Rebound with the nades. It's going to be landing and does deny that plan. There's a nade and a mosh pit all going to be used for Bane, trying to help him out. Doesn't fully commit into the fight at the front of the side. He's just about wiggling his way through. Damage is excellent. But still Melzer, there with a trade. Foxy9 instantly back and at it again. Kesnet, he's here. It's a three-piece for it. Nade rebounds. Flashback abound. This guy, there's no safety in terms of anywhere that he can stand as that solo play, and they give it up. Crew, nothing to do with this.
Respect 2v1 hai. Time hai,
because he has to be worried about shy in showers. Flashback there had to very diligently clear the angle. He couldn't just sprint over towards B and make it a foot race. This is looking like a save.
Yeah.
Credit's not good. Crew is starting to get a bit of a toehold, let's say.
Yes.
On bind. It's not a full foothold yet.
No, it's precarious.
But 6-3, working their way back in. At least getting into good post-plant situations like they were in the previous round, even if they mess it up. I'm wondering, though, how many rounds Crew actually need. We have no idea how good their defense is going to look. Yeah. This map, again, to remind the viewers, this is their perma-ban that they floated in order to get rid of Ascent, Icebox, DRX's, in my opinion, 2 best maps.
Stringing to give it a rounds here for Crew. No one beats my firepower. I wonder if there's anything cooking in the back of the minds of the DRX players about how to stop this contact play, because Crew have just been essentially disrespecting a lot of this util and doing exactly this. I mean, walking up onto the angles. And you might want to buy an operator, but again, you fall into that prior trap of, you know, maybe then they avoid the operator, they go into a different site. I think get value from it.
You could try to take aggressive short control. Yeah. As it looks like they're doing that pistol round setup that we talked about. Aggressive short control. If Flashback takes contact, you sand crunch. It's very solid. They've got big ults in this round too, DRX.
It's still a half buy though. Making sure they save money for the remainder rounds.
Crunch
Peak is there. There is a possibility to crunch.
Not yet though.
No, players are sitting there. They backing around. There's a lot of util being used by Crew. Here it is, time to strike. It's being held by Crew. Watch onto that one, but it doesn't matter if he's holding it. He's not ready for this. Foxy9, he's straight back at them. Drops 2, and Mako's right there too, alongside it, just watching that A short avenue. Heat. Alongside MTA, last 2 alive for Crew. They were not expecting that one. Again, it comes down to comfortability onto the map. Are they aware that somebody's here into the TP?
I'm not sure they are.
Rifles flicking around there. They're wondering about it. They're looking the opposite way.
Yeah, they know there's some level of danger. All Flashback has to do, though, really is stay alive.
Yeah, he does. And he's going to be the nuisance player now. Wingman's out through and a wide, and the Dizzy. Can't really see absolutely anything here, but it leaves it again just down to Heat. It's a 1v3, 25 seconds. Spikes drop down. Discipline played by DRX. This is tempered. They back away immediately. They don't want to give up any easy fights. How low Bane and Flashback are. Buying time. You hear the plan. It's committed inside. Heat.
Spike planted.
Hell of a job ahead of him. Gonna isolate these fights. Orbital strike. Does not catch it. Haunt is dealt with. One bullet will drop it. Has to reposition. He's worried about every single angle. Flashback was ready. Aim trained on it.
Works on the pistol. Works here in round 10. Beautiful crunch strategy and a great way of dealing with what Crew were throwing at them. Those contact plays down short. And I agree with you that it comes down to comfortability. Most teams are going to have protocols. They know that if they hear that teleport sound, they need to get out of there ASAP. And Crew are just a little slow with it. Didn't quite throw counter utility towards the teleport. Doesn't look like they're ready for those kind of, I guess, higher level plays that we see on Bind. And now it's odds and ends for Crew to try to recover this. 8 at the half for DRX or more would be fantastic on the final decider map.
Yeah, and money's back up. There's a thrash on either side. Has been earned up. Again, just walking up through the A short angle. There's a lot of pressure though with this util, but it's flying forward straight past this one. Foxy9, false confidence maybe. He's peeked out, almost getting a collapse. Melter. Again, he was trained onto that spot and position, so they do hand over the gun. It was trained or traded back over, so. And Melter still has control of lamps this entire time. It gives options for Crew if they do choose to make their way back over.
I mean, kind of, but he doesn't know that lamps itself is clear. He hasn't felt confident enough to pick up the weapon yet. Only now is Melzer full clearing lamps, and the fight is happening showers.
Yeah, Bane. Danger. But again, safely navigated. Was Shy going to be dropped. No longer has to worry about that backstab potential. Here's a Nightfall. Going to be utilized. Forced to swing out from Melzer. It's not going to be long for that world. Stopper in the back pocket of Buzz is going to be able to use this one for any sort of win cons here. Round 11, but honestly, again, that patience and discipline on display here by DRX. Not willing to overextend or overinvest. Flashback with the wrap around ADS up. He deals with it. 8-3. Nice. Looking like a marvelous half so far from DRX.
Crew clearly felt like they had done enough prep work on this map to float it all the way to the end as a decider. But thus far, getting outclassed. Looking quite similar to map 2, I think, where there's competency. They're not getting flattened in the same way that DRX did on Haven. But at the end of the day, each round seems like there's a mistake or an extra play coming out from DRX to push things.
I have to think maybe the gamble.
ये भी DRX
in this map against the DRX that looks competent even at some of the worst times on this map regionally. Hasn't quite paid off.
Huge ultimates here for Crew. If they want to try to push things across the line and get at least 4, trying to work towards the pistol and close the gap to 2
guys,
in the next
please
half.
like the channel.
They need
voting bhi chal rahi hai
to get
aapki.
value out of stuff
Vote
like
kar do, like the stream.
Just noticed the buy. I mean, Buzz has got
mobile पर अगर आप देख रहे हैं तो ऊपर 3 dots आएंगे, वहाँ पे like button आपको मिल जाएगा उसे tap करने के बाद.
Yeah.
Why not when it's flourishing in this way and form? The peak. Of course, it's punished there. Foxy9
and also
sharp.
sub to the channel will be very helpful. हम daily
ready to be picked right back up again. Thrash
watch party.
out and through to Seize and a Mosh, all going to be used. 50 seconds
आप
now.
लोगों को support करना पड़ेगा.
Wait this one out, but there's a gap. I think Bane not actually going to be caught by that one. Showstopper used up and over the top here. Dizzy has to be used to respond, and now Buzz right back at it. Ult of his own revealed. Spamming and praying and spraying away. Bane is losing track, but still wrangles the kill.
Rifles are there, and he put
down his Crew players.
He waited for the right moment, then he used.
Even with Crew trying to set up a 2-phase push there, the Thrash to bait out defensive utility and then go forwards. Even with them learning as the map went on how they wanted to approach their attack side, DRX one step ahead. The power of experience coming from a team with 3 rookies.
Fully turn this one around, and now looking primed to take this series. What a turnaround from that first map. They are in that driving seat.
Moment, देखो कितनी snappy goal था. 1 minute का time break, mid break.
Worked for them in this entire series. We didn't particularly get to see even them play the attack side on Haven. They were just flood defending over and over again to get a 10-2 half up, which carried them to a massive victory there. Even if they wanted to play that kind of style, Bind is such a post-planned map.
Let's see how they set themselves up here. Let's get into it. Round 13. Our final map in the series. DRX fully committed.
क्या review है
Deadpool का? B. Tiptoeing their way around most of this one here. They're going to go for a bit of a B split. Most of their players out and through this.
देखने जाना चाहिए.
The tried strategy. They do this one quite a lot. Up and through, and Shy just didn't know which way to look. A flood attempt met and shut down Heat. He was caught between a rock and a hard place there. There's no chance of him able to escape. Spike.
They're fine.
That's brutal, man.
You're
exactly right. They were the doubting team of not just, you know, Pacific and some capacity Korea. And they've had to watch that get overshadowed as Gen G have stepped up into that spotlight, have made history before anybody else.
Again, you can see it, the body language coming out from the guys up towards Crew. Ever since kind of like halfway through Abyss, maybe even early on in Abyss. They've seen that.
They are going home on, I guess.
Crew are going to take a tactical timeout. DRX had that legacy with the old roster of always making it to playoffs, almost always. I mean, a couple slip-ups here and there, but they basically dominated groups, and then they couldn't quite get over the finish line to be able to pick up a title. We always thought it was maybe possible for that old DRX roster, but at some point, just got a bit long in the tooth and they decided to make changes. This roster, I don't think many people are expecting them
one more vote for Crew. Come on, I want to see.
A very deep run, lift the title. I know that
who still thinks Crew can win.
His dark horse for the
one more vote for Crew. Come on, guys.
I think that's respectful.
24 to 25 करके दिखाओ तुम.
I think that is possible for this roster.
Yeah. I was very high up on DRX going into this
event.
I'm not just saying that to toot my own horn. I think that they looked very good in the finals performance, even though they lost versus Gen G. We're talking about a team that has just been dominating ever since our finals of Madrid. We've been going from strength to strength.
Yeah, and DRX's map pool is very strong.
75% DRX,
we thought they would be good on Haven, and they got slapped here. Is gonna, you know, it's going to affect people's assessment
next
of it.
Next का voting start करनी है बताओ.
Very solid today, and this bind performance goes from strength to strength.
Really no stopping it.
On new stream करेंगे.
Slow down here. Showstopper that was earned prior there. Buzz already got it. He's going to be using it to pave the way set the pace once more. Squeezing through any available players, but Showers is completely vacant. You can just pre-fire this one into the corner, but Fuse runs out. Still, the plant is down, and that's the important element. Crew not playing for that plant now, as you see many teams do right now. They're going to have to try and do this one. A little bit of extra util available at least. Nade, Kesnit. Which way to play this one as well, just cycling through the weapons as a seize and a nade buzz tucked to the corner, still safe, and still firing away. Shots fired. Out and through, that's a Showers player dealt with here for Crew. Onto this retake, if they deal with Buzz too, there's that danger, but now he's going to be active. Into the fight now, what's the next player to all of this one? Has to watch it all down, MTA, at least the tap onto the defuse, and DRX at least forced wide into the open. Plenty of time available.
Come back.
A couple of seconds on the clock. Would have made a large difference if DRX were willing to fake or really fight for backside there. You saw that Kesnit ran into backside knife out. He knew that DRX were going to be falling back into classic post-plant positioning, and so he wasn't worried at all. And then you get these kills coming through where Crew are able to contest.
One enemy remaining.
Crew would have to put together so many more though before this comeback felt like it had any real sting behind it.
Fake comeback.
That's what they're going to aim to do. Some ults may come online for Crew to try to deny plant late into this round, but otherwise, it's just the utility that you've bought.
Jiggle from Heat, really, he's got that acknowledgement. You can hear the sound cues, but now walking back up. Smoke in their face. Oh, that's a cheeky play. Crew trying to go for that trap play, expecting him to be a little bit deeper onto the line, but it's evacuated, backed away by DRX. They navigate it well.
DRX love inserting Buzz over towards B long and then pressuring short. This is a classic strategy of theirs. And Buzz can either become the backstab lurker or go through the teleport. This time, just choosing to reconnect with the rest of the team.
That's a timer taken by Shy. My God. Just expecting some sort of presence there.
Shy bhai bhadak
All off the Viper
gaye.
wall.
Yeah. That's what you need.
Yeah.
Injection of fire there for Crew.
Hey, come back guys. Say come back.
With the spike drop down, there's no chances more.
Khatam karo yaar. Come back thodi chahiye.
Potential money for his team to buy back up if he
You
keeps
want
this
to see
right to the
Fanatic
next, but he might not even
versus
do
BBG?
that. That's
30
nice.
seconds left.
Getting cheeky with it.
This kind of free round, though, where Shy picks the perfect timing and gets a couple brilliant kills, that's exactly what the Doctor ordered for Crew. It buys them time, gets them closer to big ultimates so that they can craft some
10 seconds left.
really difficult defensive setups to get through. And it gets them one step closer to making any kind of comeback a reality.
No, Kesnit.
No, I like it. If you see that from Kesnit, it means he's...
Confident.
Has he forgot what country he's in?
well, I mean, the point being that he's not just frustrated, he's actually channeling
Fired up.
Yeah, channeling it
listen.
into a desire to win.
Listen, it's up to him to attract the ire of the home crowd here.
I don't think he's ever been disinclined to attract ire in his life.
Of course not. Of course not, this guy. But yeah, he's feeling quite large and in charge here.
ये round भी सकती है.
Fire back beneath him.
So they're going to play for the ult over towards B long by the look of things. Get a showstopper online early.
Shy's going to be challenged and tested. He's right in front of most of this one. Snakebite at the feet. A lot to overcome there, even if it is against the pistols. And Melter, Tass, which is trying to hold on to the succeeds at that at least. Forcing the rotations of Crew. Tap of Foxy9.
Hoping to bait that ult out.
And now they're going to be TP, and they've given up the entirety of the B site.
Can they bait out the showstopper as well?
Could be a victory here for DRX, even if they don't get this plant down. If they manage to pull these ults out of them, Wingman planting. Nade rebounds across and away, not enough damage. I don't think to break this one. Mosh pit into the corner. Pound for pound there. Tucked away, Crew going to be corralled into the back of the Hall's position, but they do have the weaponry and still that ult to make usage of. Foxy9 as well with that crash, but I don't want to use it. Here's the ult, showstopper forwards. MTA taking care of Bane, and Rocket not really that necessary here with the rifles. Foxy9 making a decent go. Gotta respect it.
But even more than Foxy9's kills towards the end, it's the fact they dragged out Melzer and Kesnit's ultimates that got no value. I mean, nothing. It was just a cheap tap on A, and then Kesnit trying to make the retake work, worried, even though they're on an anti-eco, even with a player advantage, wanted to secure that round because every round means everything to Crew currently. But unless you're saving ultimates like that, it's going to make the comeback almost impossible. Yeah. DRX are going to take a tactical timeout here. Frankly, I don't think they really need to do that, but Tommy's just looking to stop the rot early.
They might have done enough just by, like you said, pull the ults out of them, making it all the more difficult for Crew to even mount any sort of comeback.
DRX have a lovely strat that I watched them run in Pacific, where they haunt over the top towards Garden, the same one that we saw Crew throwing, insert Buzz in that area, B long, and then they'll run, so it feels like a B default at that point, and then they'll double lurk A. So one player tries to lurk down behind the Viper wall short, and one player tries to lurk in showers. Whichever one dies, the other just runs into sight. And it has ruined a lot of the Pacific team's defensive protocols. We haven't seen them run that strat yet. They pulled it out multiple times to huge success in Pacific. I'm wondering if coming out of a timeout to get a big round on the board, it might be a moment to unveil a strat like that. But on the other hand, they've got two big ultimates that maybe they just want to keep it simple, keep it safe.
Exactly. Not just that as well. I mean, maybe taking the timing to think about whether or not Shy is going to be using this ult. Could potentially use a Thrash to clear it, even a Nightfall as well. Have really good ults. Making the most of it. You can see, one way going to miss. All good though. Shy with the ult in his back pocket. Now there's no signs of life from DRX. They are nowhere near this A site. Anticipating that would be potentially the position there. Prowler catching. Thrash going to be used as a squeezing the players out and through here. So has to be that evacuation again from these Crew players. Out through the back, Kesnick, got to respect that one. It was a haunt up and over the top here with the Nightfall now. Sound cues up and away. Bit of spam, stray bullets. Gliding past one another, barely giving haircuts, but no casualties, not just yet. Plant is down now for DRX. Important element now into the post. Mosh going to be laid down in a deep, committed site control and the hold for them. It's an orb in their face. The Thrash round 2. Sent flying out through elbow. Nobody's sticking to try and at least break that. And everybody's detained because they can't defend. Players topple, bodies fall, and DRX inevitable to get that 12. Just Shy remaining, one to stand. As I said, inevitable.
Keep it simple. DRX just play towards their ultimates, overwhelm the B site. Utilizing that Thrash in the post plant as well, all looking lovely from DRX. A 6-round lead, 6 chances to be able to put Crew away and move on as the first team in this group looking to face whoever comes out of Fanatic Billy. Buzz with a showstopper. MTA didn't get a chance to use the Thrash in the previous round. He was one away, got detained, taken down in elbow.
खत्म हो गया बॉयज, खत्म हो गया, बचा ही गया.
Last time Buzz accelerated very quickly from short and tried to wrap onto a Showers player.
Our people said DRX जीतेगी, DRX अच्छा खेलती है बहुत. DRX is a good team.
Are happy to again play it a bit more cautiously.
No hate for KRU, KRU भी अच्छा खेलती है, but
it's more akin, honestly. They've been showing this on their attack sides a lot.
Yeah.
Just trying to hold for any deep pushes.
I like it. It's something that DRX, the old roster, never used to do that much. It's why they weren't as good on bind when it came to these global events. But learning from some of the EMEA teams, to be honest, in terms of the style, now approaching these early rounds much more slowly, cautiously. Flashback's got to lurk over towards Showers. Looks dangerous over there, though.
Really dangerous. I mean, either Flashback catches the contact here onto one of these players. It is returned with a fire, but as a showstopper right onto the other side of the map. In through B, Buzz has gained a lot of ground from it. Just the threat of it, that is egregious by Heat. Thinking he can take that timing back and away, and the Thrash is just dealt with. Broken down. Kesnick can't take the timing. This is it. The impetus. DRX know exactly when to strike where it hurts with an orbital strike earned up as well. There is nowhere to run and nowhere to hide now. MTA is going to be pushed back from this corner. If any of these players contacts the Thrash up and around, detainment onto Buzz, that will be the kill. And the angle just not afforded to at least answer back, but finally doubles up, and Shy has to do it all. So much
deserves a.
I used the wrong keyboard. Sorry. My bad. Maaf karo.
And Buzz, you were talking him up earlier, what a performance from him towards, you know, the second onwards of Abyss and all of Bind. He was on fire.
I used
Took
the wrong
over,
keyboard.
top of the scoreboard in that last match, 23 kills game. Champs not really looking to start anytime soon.
Well, Fanatic ka game hai, Fanatic people.
Honestly, I think there's going to be a discussion to be had about, you know, that shakiness, but to be honest, dissuading that, I think, with how good they looked on map 2, map 3, it was really well put together. They weren't falling into the trap of trying to, you know, fight at the tempo that crew were doing. They were really just, honestly, kind of just controlling the entire state of the game.
Right,
yeah, they slowed the game down a lot,
Fanatic.
map 2, map 3.
Yeah, BBG gaming. Come on.
And the maps played into it as well.
EME or China.
Much more difficult to play.
Which team you are
those
supporting?
maps
Come
at
on,
a higher
guys.
tempo. Our crew did win one thing today. They won the
You want to see
classic kill
Fanatic or
versus classic kill
BBG gaming?
battle.
Don't know what that was playing for.
Are they going to feel good about that?
Yeah.
I don't think so. Letting
like
slip a 13-2 lead is brutal.
I guess 10 minutes तो लेंगे लोग 5 minutes तो 5 minute बाद connect करते हैं. Stream is there, I am here.
Yeah,
Do
so
not
listen,
doubt.
do not
We will
disrespect that
connect after
Billy
5
team.
minutes, okay?
Why are you even saying them? You're disrespecting them by assuming they'll lose against Fanatic.
Listen, I'm sorry. We'll be finding out after this match, I'm sure, but we're going to send it down to the floor. I believe we have the Gentle Giant waiting for the interview.
Here standing with Mako after they take down Crew 2-1. Now, congratulations, Mako. 승리 축하드립니다.
감사합니다.
Now, DRX, you guys had a shift in the identity and the play style, moving away from that execute-heavy team to more of a team-heavy, team fight-heavy team, right? So taking down Crew today, who is known for their contact plays, must mean a lot to you, especially here in Champions. 마코 선수 승리 축하드리고요. 뭔가 DRX가 올해부터 조금 교전 위주로 경기를 풀어가는 스타일을 선택해가고 있잖아요. 이런 좀 스타일의 변화를 주고 있는 가운데 크루라는 대표적인 컨택팀을 상대로 승리를 거뒀다는 게 참 의미 있을 것 같거든요. 오늘의 승리 어떻게 보시나요?
일단은 크루라는 팀을 제가 21년도 때부터 되게 좀 눈에 좀 들어오는 팀이었거든요. 그래가지고 뭔가 교전에서도 이기고 전략적으로도 이긴 것 같아가지고 조금 많이 행복합니다. 네.
Well, I always have my eyes on Crew since 2021, and to be able to match their firepower level and also, out-aim them, but also beat them with our executes and strategies, it definitely means a lot, and I'm really, really happy with how today played out. Now, speaking of DRX, though, in the past global events, post plans were something that you guys had so much success with, but the meta has kind of shifted away from that, and ever since you taking on that IGLing role, we see DRX relying less on post plans as well. So do you think this is because of how the current meta is kind of, folding, or do you feel like it's just changes that DRX are trying to implement with your new play styles? DRX가 그동안 국제 무대에서 가장 잘했던 게, 세계적으로 가장 잘했던 게 바로 포스트 플랜이잖아요. 몰리로 한번 맞고 하는 거. 근데 그동안에 메타의 변화도 있었고, 또 마쿠 선수가 이렇게 IGL을 잡으면서 좀 이 포스트 플랜트에 의존하는 빈도수가 많이 줄어든 것 같거든요. 이게 좀 현존하는 메타의 한계인 것 같은지, 몰리도 버프가 됐고 아스트라도 현재 나오지 않고 있으니까, 아니면 그냥 DRX가 조금 더 변화를 주고 있는 것의 일부인지도 궁금합니다.
이 부분에 대해서는 솔직히 말하면 발로란트가 요즘 들어 교전 위주로 좀 많이 흘러가는 것 같아가지고 사실 메타상 이렇게 된 것 같아요. 그래서 포스트 플랜트는 22년도 이후부터는 뭔가 좀 잘 안 되는 것 같고, 그냥 요즘 교전으로 모든 팀들이 다 그렇게 흘러가는 것 같아요. 그래서 어쩔 수 없이 이제 그렇게 되는 건가 싶기도 해요. 네.
알겠습니다. Now, I feel like the meta these days kind of don't allow a lot of post plans. It's really harsh on making those post plans kind of successful, and a lot of it comes down to winning those skirmishes and those aim duels. So that's definitely being more aggressive is what you need in the current meta to win out the games. And I believe that the era of post plans are kind of dying away. Now, I'm gonna ask you a quick question, Mako. Fnatic or Bilibili?
Fnatic.
Okay, then you're going up against one of the best IGLs in the world, Boaster. Do you feel like you're prepared for that? How are you feeling? 그러면 푸나틱이 이길 것 같다고 예상을 해주셨는데, 세계에서 가장 유능한 IGL로 꼽히는 보스터 선수를 상대해야 되잖아요. 자신 있으신가요?
자신 있죠, 당연히.
100% confident against facing Boaster. Now, congratulations, Mako, once again, and good luck against whoever you get to face.
Thank you.
이렇게 마코 선수 만나봤습니다. Bolster versus Mako. Is that the matchup we're gonna get? We'll have to wait and see with the next matchup coming up because we have Billy taking on Fnatic coming up after the break.
Welcome back to day 2 of Champions Tour and our second opening match of Group A. I'm Golden Boy, once again joined at the desk here with Mimi and the birthday boy, Tom. I had to do it again just to give you some embarrassment.
Didn't say that in the script.
It didn't say that in the script, but I added it because I'm my own man and I can do what I want. But up next,
did say that in the script.
We have a great potential. Hopefully, I want to be hyped about this. But of course, it is going to be a 23 rematch between Fnatic and Billy Gaming. Now, if you hadn't been watching the Chinese region for a little while, you might remember Billy from their incredible run that we saw at Champs. Everyone's so enthusiastic about this team. Obviously, time has changed, right? It's been a while here, but Billy, they were the underdogs then, they're the underdogs now, and we know what they do when their backs are against the wall.
The last time we saw them, they did the funniest thing possible. 2 wins in a row against NRG to make playoffs at their first ever global event. But Fnatic was the team who queued them up for the second match of that bout, right? Beating them in the group stage. It was a very, very dominant game. Fnatic rolled them in a quick 2-0 and made their own way into the playoffs.
Yeah, I also think last time around I kind of looked at that team and there were a lot more positives. I'm nervous about them here. I think they're going to have to have come in with quite a few changes from what we saw in the regular season, because they got through in a very tight margin.
Yeah, Fnatic, however, I mean, it has been the resurgence of all time.
They're a great team.
Yeah, after not making it to Madrid and going out swiftly in Shanghai, they have come back into stage 2, did not drop a series, and I think reinvented themselves. The critique of this team so often was that they're just playing the same stuff, they're doing the standard, they're running through the same motions, but they were playing new comps, new ideas. This was a fresh-faced Fnatic in stage 2.
Yeah, well, they literally had a new player in the mix as well, and they haven't lost since he joined, the youngster in Hero. And it's funny calling him the youngster when Alpha is still like almost a similar age to him, but it really is impressive what he's been able to bring, but also how they've been able to bring this guy into the team. Still the 4th best EMEA team in your mind, though, which is what you said. Top of the show, we have evidence of that.
I don't remember that at all. But look, here's the deal, though. Fnatic, a team that, you know, would at times lean on, hey, Durka, go shoot everyone and win. Right now,
famous strategy
has worked for them from time to time. But now this team has actually leaned so much more on their defense, so much more on what they're bringing to the table here. You're really seeing a more well-rounded Fnatic coming into Champions.
Yeah, like the statistics will tell you what you need to know, but at the same time, I pulled some clips specifically for their map of Sunset, because on the defensive side, this was a map that they didn't play up until the end of the season. They pretty much banned it all the way out. Yeah. And this is just them taking B main versus Vitality. Now, Vitality were a team that really loved leaning on that B main control, and that's how they would set up. So you had different utility setups every single time, using the stuns, the stars, switching the personnel that were there. In some cases, they were very aggressive, taking deep control. Other times, they were combining it with the ultimates that they had online. It was ultimately just a beautiful counter to a very, very good team on Sunset, and they ended up obliterating them.
I was so impressed that it's proven to be incredibly deep. This is no longer the Fraudnatic that was struggling, that wasn't making it to the globals. This is back to the Fnatic that is going to be contending for trophies at global events. But the thing is, they've never done it at Champions before, and this would be the perfect place for them to find their redemption.
Exactly, and with Leo out, Hero has been brought in as the sub, and they have been dynamic, unreal this the previous stage. And now you're going to have Hero at a global event here. You know, it's a different type of environment for him. But honestly, I can't think of 4 better people to share the stage with for your first match.
The other thing as well is you have to think of the stakes even when he came into EMEA.
Yeah.
It was a team that, okay, they made it to one of the internationals, they failed the first and didn't look particularly good. So it was basically a story of, okay, we have to get to Champions, we have to do well at Champions, otherwise this is a failed year for this squad. And this kid hasn't broken a sweat. He's looked fantastic all the way through.
And he's filling into the shoes of Leo, the guy who we've always lauded as one of, if
Leo
not the
and
best.
Sentinels. That's the thing. He's playing multiple roles for this team, not just the Leo's
Exactly, right? And on top of that, the team has had to flex around that. Chronicle is playing more Initiator. I think he's looked incredible, especially getting to see more of his Sova these days. But yeah, Hero, I think it's just remarkable how well this guy has stepped into this roster, stepped into this system on a completely new level of play. For a guy that was a completely unknown name, it's really remarkable.
Yeah, well, of course, you know, when you have a player like Hero, you need a leader that's going to guide him, and who better than Boaster? Good thing we caught up with him, courtesy of Mika. What you got for us? Out of the stage, need to be careful, because this is a team that not a lot of people are given the time of day. In fact, all of Fnatic was predicted by the entirety of the talent team, which goes to show you how favored Fnatic is in this matchup, Mimi.
I don't think there's an opening match that is more heavily favored, at least on paper, than this one. Bilibili coming out of China, I think it's very different if you're not watching this region than the teams you're more familiar with. FPX, EDG. This Bilibili squad doesn't play as many crazy comps. They have like one map where they're off kilter. For the most most part, it's standard meta stuff, or what was meta like a year ago.
Exactly.
But I think where they falter is really in the execution. There are moments when you see them playing really well together, having solid trading, really seeing the improvement in fundamentals from the last time we saw this team, but there are still a lot of moments regionally where that is slipping, where people are overheating, individual mistakes are cropping up, and the team isn't able to adapt and stay in these games. And that's why they're coming in as the 4th seed from this region.
They scraped it as well. It was a joint 6 points. Like they were literally the bottom team to make it through, just about got here, which I think is always an achievement in itself.
Of course.
But this is now where it's like the level that they need has to go up a significant amount to get close to Fnatic.
Yeah.
It absolutely does. And I think also they're going to be playing against a Fnatic who doesn't play like the Chinese teams they're playing regionally. They're really structured. They're going to punish those individual mistakes. And honestly, I think the biggest fear for Bilibili is that once those risks start to be taken, when a player like YZ's going for these swings, if it stops working, if Fnatic is punishing it, can they come back into this game? Because they haven't had a lot of experience internationally, no matter how great Champions was for them last year.
Yeah, great point on that one. A lot of pressure here for Bilibili. Some added pressure as well, courtesy of our friend Artis over in Navi.
Well, you know what? He's never said anything silly about Bilibili before, so what would be a problem with him saying something here? I also want to point out, I'm going to mainly direct this GB, why is going ball to punishment? That's the real question.
Like, you know what I mean?
What's going on here, Artis?
Bald is beautiful, baby. Okay? Lean into it.
Maybe it's a reward.
You get That's right. I'm going to look at it as a reward. That's the best way to see it.
I think there's like some internalized bald phobia within both of you to assume it was a punishment.
Maybe.
I don't think that's a thing.
Well, here's the thing. This is going to be Neff over on BLG's first global event. And earlier, Paperthin had an opportunity to sit down with Bilibili's IGL to talk about this whirlwind of a year for this roster.
Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Paperthin here, and I am joined by Bilibili Gaming's Neff. Now, Neff, I have so many questions for you, but we don't have a lot of time. You have had a crazy journey the last couple of years, right? Last year, you win Ascension with Bleed. They qualify for Pacific. You can't move on with them. You have a bunch of time in between to play some games, play with some other teams and things like that. Then in Stage 2, you join Bilibili. What's this year been like for you, going from winning to Ascension to now qualifying for Champions?
I mean, following last year, right, after our Ascension win back in Thailand, I mean, I was pretty ecstatic. And then after that, knowing that I had some complications about the following year, like I was obviously like pretty down and pretty like sort of depressed about it. Like I couldn't compete. Then I had a bunch of time. I sorted out everything, and then I was able to compete again, right? And then I was actually about to join a team called DSG, if you know, Disguise. And then I was ready to sign a contract, pen and paper, everything down. And suddenly Bilibili approached me. I was like, do I really want to take this risk? Because it's like moving to an entirely new region and such. And yeah, I took the choice, and now I'm here.
Awesome, man. So speaking of that, you moved to a new region. What it's been like for you playing in VCT China? You know, you've got a Korean coach, Chinese players. How has that transition been for you?
I mean, at first, before I took the decision to move to VCT CN, right, Bilibili, I mean, it's kind of like a very new experience. Like throughout my whole playing career, I've been speaking in the English language and then having to switch over to Mandarin. And I mean, obviously, at first it was pretty tough. Like, I did not know anyone on the team. We only had a couple of scrims before I made the decision to join, right? And then after that, I moved over, and then we interacted more between the teammates, the coaches, and the staff as well. And then everyone got along pretty well, and then now we're here. And I think right now I'm pretty comfortable right now.
Awesome, great to hear. What about for this event? Are there any teams or players you'd really like to go up against, or that you're looking forward to playing?
I mean, before the draws happened, right? Like, we are the 4th seed, not the best, and then we knew we had to play the 1st seed for our first game, right? And I told myself I really want to play against Fanatic. I want to play against Boaster and Alpha in particular, and we got it.
You got it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, they're a tough opponent for sure. So looking forward to that. And then finally, what is the expectations and the mindset for you and your team coming into Champions 2024?
I mean, like I said, we were the 4th seed, right? So obviously we didn't do particularly well in our own region for the playoffs. But I think We are still not a team to be underestimated by the rest of the teams, and I think that throughout this tournament, we're just going to take each game one step at a time. We're going to take every round, every game as a learning experience for us in order to better us for the future. Yeah.
Awesome, great, man. Well, thank you so much, and congratulations again on making it, and we're looking forward to seeing you play.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, great to hear there from Neff, and quite fascinating, right, that, you know, this team, like, they know they don't want to be underestimated here, but they know that the work that they have to do is going to be quite substantial.
But what he's saying there about taking this as a learning opportunity, I think it's definitely the right move. You know, the CN region is still, I think, behind, clearly. They haven't had as much time as a partnership league. The game hasn't been out for as long. But Billy is trying to play a lot of the style of some of these other teams from other regions. And I think taking that learning opportunity, growing as a squad is so important, especially when they do have some great talents on their team, like YZ.
Yeah, I think, I'll be honest, if they played against early in the year Fnatic, who ultimately stuck with a lot of stuff from the year before, I think they would have had a good opportunity to face off against them. The problem is they've come up against a Fnatic who are now in their innovation era. That was always the thing with the OG Fanatics going back even a few years. It was the scariest prospect when Boaster had those chances to really go wild with the comps. So now they're going to have to learn to play against a whole different style that they won't have faced before.
And they still have to get over some of these blocks. You were seeing there some of the best highlights, the highs for this team. But they have still never beaten EDG or FPX, the two best teams from their region in the partnership era. And they've never beaten EDG as a squad whatsoever. So there is still a pretty big gap, I think, between those top two CN teams and the teams like Billy, like Trace, like DRG, who we saw earlier in the year. So any opportunity to come here, scrim against so many different teams from around the world, and also to have a chance to showcase and make an upset happen like they did last year is huge.
Real quick, though, before we get ready for the match, I want to ask you guys differences between, you know, what we saw the 23 Billy versus the 24 Billy, right? Because we were kind of saying the same thing last year, and then look what happened. They managed to pull off some pretty incredible things.
I think YZ just isn't, I don't think he's hitting as much as he was before. Like, he was truly in his, like, superstar era last year and managed to sort of almost diff some of the players on RG. I don't know if he's quite there right now.
But I do wonder if there's something about champions, about these global events, about wanting to prove yourself so bad to level you up. But it's against Fnatic, and that's, I think, one of the toughest two opponents you could get for your first round draw.
Yeah, of course. Well, I think it's about to be time to send it down to the stage, bring out our two teams so we can get this show on the road. You got Billy going up against Fnatic, and we are going to be bringing them out in just a moment here because teams are getting set up, ready to go, and then we'll be all copacetic. It's going to be interesting, though, considering that Billy, again, they are coming in with this underdog mentality. Fnatic cannot sleep on them whatsoever, regardless.
They absolutely can't, but this is a Fnatic that is so confident right now. Didn't drop a series in EMEA, only lost 3 maps across their run. This is, in my opinion, the best form we have seen Fnatic in heading into an international event since maybe Masters Tokyo?
Yeah. I would also say definitely heading into Champions. I don't even think that's arguable. I think that because of the lows, there's been a work ethic. I think bringing in Hero had that additional boost of just him almost energizing the team and having that desire to win. And I'm hoping maybe on the other side, Neff can be that as the leader of this squad as well. I think there's a good opportunity there.
Yeah, all right. Well, we did get word. Players are ready to go. So let's go ahead and bring them out. You got Fnatic going up against Billy Gaming. It's about to go down. Let's head to the stage.
Billy. Fanatic.
Fnatic is coming into this event in their best form pretty much in any champions in the history of the game. They're feeling really good, but on the other side, you have a Billy lineup that doesn't have many expectations for this competition. So that could be scary for their opponents. But let's go ahead and look at the series layout. You got Bind, Lotus, and Ascent if necessary. Let's see where this goes.
I don't mind the Bind coming up, just as their own choice. Because even though it's very good for Fnatic, I'm looking at Bilibili and going, play to your strengths.
Sure.
Don't try and look for a weakness on the opponent.
Yeah, it's true.
I am not the biggest fan, though, of their Bind. They've won it regionally, but they're still playing this solo Sky composition that I think can be really limiting. They have a lot of ideas that I think are somewhat one-dimensional, which is like pop flash plays, setting up their star duels. It's not bad by any means, but they're going up against a Fnatic who is innovating on this map. The last time we saw them play, they pulled out Alpha Year on Clove, and it looked sick.
Yeah, they just look nasty in general. I also think that this first map is going to be critical because going to Lotus, I believe it's now a 6 streak. They haven't changed their comp pretty much the whole year on Fnatic because they are so comfortable at how they play it. Yeah. But they've still been able to innovate the way they actually play the map, and they have been dominant in pretty much every first half they've played.
Yes, they built the meta comp on this map.
Yeah.
Everyone has been playing it. Everyone emulated them. There's a reason why they continue to go back to this map.
Curious to see what we end up getting here. Does Bilibili try and pull an FPX, throw a spanner into the works, try something new?
I would be really surprised.
I would be surprised too, because it's not their style.
Well, they've also won it 4 times in a row, so it would be coming into an event going, okay, this is something that we've actually been relatively comfortable on, and then changing it just for now because of the opponent they're up against. And on the other side of things, it already looks like that Clove has dissipated. We're actually going to get the Gecko out from Alpha. I'm quite excited to see that because, again, it seems like his role just changes all over the shop.
This is a comp we have seen, not with the Astra, but with the Brimstone normally from a lot of other teams. It's kind of become one of the standards on this map. But as we know, Boast are super comfortable on that Astra. They'll lean into it on a lot of these maps. But to your point, GB, I think that Bilibili is really focused on trying to play good, proper Valorant. That's why you see them play classic comps. That's why you see them try and lean into fixing their fundamentals. Their coach, Bile, is a legend in Korean esports from the very beginning, who I think has brought the right ideas into this roster.
Yeah, they're certainly going to need to work out how to, crack the egg of Fnatic. It's going to be really tough, though, especially when you got them doing stretches like that. But now it is time to jump into the server. Our teams are set, and so is our casting duo. 2 guys who are very familiar with the building that we are in right now, the hometown casters. It's Achilleos and Paper Thin.
Thank you very much, GP. And yes, here we are. It feels so good to be right back staying in Seoul. Haven't had to travel too much for this one. And boy, already it has been some banger series throughout this first 1.5 days that we've had. And hopefully that is going to continue as we get ready to go into this 4th matchup.
No doubt about it. I mean, obviously it's going to be heavy favorites in the case of Fnatic, as the desk was rightly pointing out. But Bilibili has a chance to do another funny thing.
It might be even funnier this time if they could pull it off.
I mean,
it's up for debate. Yeah. We also, Artis has his hair on the line. That wasn't something that existed the last time around. So if it does occur, I think it is a little bit more comedic, but as the desk was also saying, very unexpected to occur. Let's see what happens though. Is out the rip. Bilibili going to be here on the attack. Alpha here. Bringing out that Gecko. Peek. A little bit of damage, but spots out 3.
Yeah, really.
At least double smoke खेलने लोग. Sentinel ये भी नहीं खेल रहे.
Kill from K-Knight to open up the B site, just poster
Bilibili खेल रही है
Sentinel. Eyes on the
Sentinel.
dog there, but a little wide swing out, finds the
But
headshot,
Sky
puts him
and
down.
at least only Viper smoke.
Solid
Bilibili.
opening now here.
Lineup याद करके बैठे होंगे.
Sight, very much in control here of Bilibili.
मजा आएगा.
Double approach coming up.
मजा आएगा, मजा आएगा. Guys, आ जाओ stream पे आ जाओ यार, like करो सब. भाई 3-5% लोग बिलीबिली को सपोर्ट कर रहे हैं. जीत सकती है बिलीबिली. Fnatic अपने प्राइम फॉर्म में नहीं है पहले जैसे.
Boombot has just drifted across the
Oh
site.
भाई.
Nearly gets the explosion. Would have done quite a bit of damage there. Rachel going to be flying down. Neptune eating a little bit, put some damage down, but now flexing as well. Going to fall. Starker finds that kill. Chronicle just strafing forward, finding one Knight. K-Knight rather
भाई डर के मारेगा तो फिर
cannot hold the line.
कोई भी टीम सामने नहीं खड़ी सकती. डर.
And Fnatic will take the pistol.
Depends on डर.
Somebody called Vin Diesel because that Boombot was fast and furious. It was just zooming out there. But yeah, Fnatic, just great protocols as always. Just taking their time, being really disciplined. BLG has all the time in the world to do their setups, and something else that Desk was talking about, Coach Bile has generally gotten teams into really good fundamental positions where they can hold those angles, but Fnatic just so snappy on these shots. Durka, Chronicle, Hero, all getting involved there. And just storm on through and
voice
retake
better?
It's
Is the
going to be
audio
really
better?
interesting and maybe a little bit rocky here at the
Checking it
start for
out,
Fnatic
okay.
with these role swaps. You know, like the desk was mentioning, it's
You guys can
a very
hear me
different look,
clearly?
frankly. I mean, Boaster,
Hello?
though, back on his classic Astra, kind of the agent that he's so well known for. Durka does get spotted, but not the end of the world here as BLG looking for a push up through short and shower so far.
2 pistol और 2 sheriff लेके ये लोग आए हैं save
for
round.
a catch. A little bit of decay there. Somebody trying to pull back, but Chronicle through the corner of the wall, able to find the headshot. Shuts down that enemy Viper. It's been a decent investment into this round with these Sheriffs and the Ghost.
A little bit of patience and an orb grab, though, at least for Billy, but now they're going to have to make their way through towards the site. Already another star right in front of this door. Let's see if that's going to be a grab well or what.
Spam from Durka, holding it at bay for now. Neff down to 61. Left in 75. Tap of the spike, plant not being